I got a call out this morning about a house fire. There was a gentleman that was found inside deceased. It's looking like the fire is going to be something that took place to cover up the crime.
We thought maybe his teeth got knocked out in simple altercation.
The exit wound's the mouth.
I shoot you, I just leave. Why do you try and clean up?
We're going to execute a search warrant today. This might not be an easy arrest.
There's apparently a 9mm still out and about.
Richmond 911, how can I help you?
We have a fire at West Franklin Street.
Could you tell what's on fire?
We just opened the door. There's smoke coming out of the whole apartment.
So the apartment building is on fire?
Yes.
We'll get the fire department over there immediately, okay?
Thank you.
We're heading to an apartment fire. Firefighters went in, put out the blaze, and they discovered just an adult male deceased.
Detective Michael Masello will be the lead investigator working on the case.
We really don't know much right now if it's an accidental fire or if this may turn out to be a homicide.
There's no force on the door. That's where the fire started on the building. Nobody's ever seen smoke, so we don't have any accidental cause as far as smoking materials. We don't see anything. It looks like he's covered up with a sleeping bag.
It was 95 degrees last night. We need a sleeping bag.
Fire department thought things were a little bit suspicious, so I decided to call us out just in case. We do have some signs. If it was a homicide, but we're not 100% sure yet. Looks like possibly the fire probably started on the bed. The person is found face down, probably wrapped up in a sleeping bag. The body appears to be charred. We located a gas can on the floor next to the wall inside the bedroom. The fire was contained to the bedroom, but the rest of the apartment is filled with soot.
The difficulty right now is with the fire and with everything else that's in that apartment. It's hard to sort of determine what's actually evidence and what's just, clutter or junk. There's a lot of shoe prints in here on the floors. Most of them are work boots or fireman's boots, but there's 3 footprints here that are on top. They don't look like the same type of tread pattern as the fireman boots.
But it looked like tennis shoe prints, and there shouldn't have been nobody in here wearing tennis shoes.
If the detectives are able to recover an impression, the shoe print may lead them to a suspect.
It's a little suspicious right now. There's an empty can of gasoline in the bedroom with them. The top is across the room. The gasoline is on the far side of the room, but the top of the gas can has also been burned. The guy that lives there is Mike Brown. He works maintenance here at the apartments.
The victim, Michael Brown, was the father of 2 small children. He had been the maintenance man here for 2 years.
I talked to Aaron, all right, who is the apartment manager. He's saying Mike, he's probably between 50 and 55. And Mike has been here as the maintenance guy, about 2 years.
Brian Russell is a lieutenant in charge of homicide.
The medical examiner just arrived. We're going to go inside, have them take a look at the body.
The seat of the fire is right there.
I was called out to look at the body at the scene. They weren't sure whether or not he had died in the fire or whether or not there was some sort of trauma, and hoping to find that out.
Well, you see, he's got that mark on his neck, but I don't know if that's from the fire.
It wouldn't be deep enough.
Yeah.
There's a puncture wound there. He's got missing teeth. He's also got what feels like fractures in his facial bones. It looks like there was trauma there. There is injury to the inside of his gums.
This is going to be a homicide. We'll have to wait for the autopsy, but we're going to rule out at this point suicide or accidental death. Looks like we're going to be starting our homicide investigation.
Right now, I am working on a scan of the crime scene using the Leica scanner.
I got a call out this morning about a house fire. There was a gentleman that was found inside deceased. It's looking like the fire is going to be something that took place to cover up the crime.
We thought maybe his teeth got knocked out in some altercation.
The exit wound's the mouth.
I shoot you, I just leave. Why do you try and clean up?
We're going to execute a search warrant today. This might not be an easy arrest.
There's apparently a 9mm still out and about.
Richmond 911, how can I help you?
We have a fire at West Franklin Street.
Could you tell what's on fire?
We just opened the door. There's smoke coming out of the whole apartment.
So the apartment building is on fire?
Yes.
We'll get the fire department over there immediately, okay?
Thank you.
We're heading to an apartment fire. Firefighters went in, put out the blaze, and they discovered just an adult male.
Right.
The lockbox also held the master key to the building, but it's missing.
Well, our victim was the maintenance man here. He's got a master key, which opens up every individual apartment, including his own. This potentially could have been some type of botched robbery where, the victim was killed, and then the suspect fled the scene and perhaps dropped the keys on his way jumping over that fence.
The keys that we found were right here, where my black marker is, ink prints are. So he probably came over here, hopped up here, climbed up here.
You want how to process this?
Yeah, that'll probably be the best bet. Detective Carey discovered a footprint that was on top of the gate in the rear. So it looks like it matches the footprint that is in this apartment, which probably came from the suspects. So it looks like the suspect actually did come out the apartment, ran to the side and to the rear, hopped over the fence.
Shoe print of a killer right there. Somebody's going to jail over this. All we need is the shoe to go with the print.
We recovered everything back here already, the keys.
Yeah.
Anything else pops up, just give me a holler, let me know.
All right.
I want to do a canvass of this whole building. So we're going to go and talk to all the neighbors, see if anyone's seen or heard anything suspicious lately. Anyone banging on anyone's doors, anyone trying to knock on your door in the middle of the night, or anyone trying to get into your house at all?
Definitely not.
You knew of any problems that Mike was having with anyone?
No, not that I know of.
The only time he was up here was just to do
just to fix something or, they let me in the building sometimes.
Basically, I learned that nothing really suspicious has been seen or heard in the area prior to the fire. I usually give my cases a little solvability scale. That scale jumps up and down from 1 to 10, with 1 being I haven't a clue as to who did this, and 10 being the guy just confessed. Probably once I find a little bit more about the victim, so we're probably looking at maybe about a 4 on getting this one solved. Still have a lot to do right now. The forensics unit, Detective Wigfall, and the rest of the team going to start gathering all the physical evidence. There's a cell phone charger plugged in right there, and it's sort of hanging over the ironing board and hanging down. Okay. In that hall closet, there's a cell phone sitting in there. But I'm gonna grab that. What's this right here? There you go, here's a clue. That's why I'm here, baby. That's why I make the big money. There's a bunch of blood and bag right down here. I guess the fire guys had kicked it or something because there's a little void of soot. And when I look down, it's just dark red with blood. We found some blood in the living room away from where the victim was. We actually found a mop, a broom, and a dustpan in a bag right next to the couch. So it looks like someone tried to clean up the crime, move the body, and then set the apartment on fire. Whoever killed my victim tried to cover up their crime. You know, do the once-over in here. If there's anything out of the ordinary, grab it. Anything special, just give me a holler, let me know. I'm gonna start working on some of this stuff. I'm gonna be leaving the scene to start on the case. Forensics is here. Got a lot of evidence in there that they have to go through, document, and collect. They're gonna be here for several hours, sucking it up in the heat.
Oh.
Stink? Like blood stink?
No, like gasoline.
Oh, here we go. We still got ways to go before we get finished with everything.
Right now, we're gonna head out to a couple area convenience stores. We have a gas can that was inside the apartment. It's got a very unique sticker on it. My hunch right now is that that can was purchased somewhere within walking distance of the fire. Hopefully we can get some video footage of my suspect actually buying the gas can prior to the fire. You guys sell 1-gallon gas cans at all? There's the same model number. It's got the exact same barcode number on it as well. Oh, you know what? It's a different 7-Eleven. That bottom number is different. The manager was able to look up that number for me and matched it up to another store that's just down the road. So we're going to go over there to that store. I'm Detective Macello. Can I speak to you on the phone?
We've sold one this month.
Okay. Did he purchase just the can or gas also? Thank you. The store didn't have any video surveillance, so I'm not going to be able to put that gas can into somebody's hands. It's not going to check out as a very good lead for me.
Detectives have notified the victim's family of the homicide. The mother of Michael Brown's 2 young children has agreed to speak to Macello.
Just have a seat if you'd like. I'm going to see if she can give me any insight. Most often, information's passed to the family members about what happened before it gets to the police. How many children together?
2.
2 children?
2 children, yeah.
You know if he had any enemies at all?
Not that I know of.
He wasn't like really flashy, like he never flashed his money out or anything like that?
Never. Never.
What can you tell me about just him in general? What kind of a person he was?
Michael, he was very introverted, kind of stayed to himself, was very spiritual, read a lot, read in his Bible. I mean, the kids just love him. They just really love him. Very good person. Very good person. Mm-hmm.
It's important to sort of reach out to the family members and let them know that, you know, we're actively working on the case. She said that my victim, Michael, didn't really have any problems with anybody. Let's make another right here. He wasn't a really wealthy man. I'm gonna try to track down a couple more leads, but you know, it just looks like this is the very beginning of a very long and lengthy investigation. I got a call out this morning about a house fire. There was a gentleman that was found inside deceased. It's looking like the fire is going to be something that took place to cover up the crime.
We thought maybe his teeth got knocked out in some altercation.
The exit wound's the mouth.
I shoot you, I just leave. Why do you try and clean up?
We're going to execute a search warrant today. This might not be an easy arrest.
There's apparently a 9mm still out and about.
Richmond 911, how can I help you?
We have a fire at West Franklin Street.
Could you tell what's on fire?
We just opened the door. There's smoke coming out of the whole apartment.
So the apartment building is on fire.
Artery.
Bullet hit 2 vessels in his neck. One was the carotid and the other's the internal jugular vein.
Is there a bullet in there at all?
Just little tiny fragments. The exit wound's the mouth, because you're talking back the neck, below the ear, and then to the mouth.
Any idea on a time that he may have been shot?
That's difficult to nail down. Obviously, it's some time from when he was last seen to when you located him.
Well, if we put him, when's the last time we saw him? Somebody saw him Wednesday?
No one saw him at all day Wednesday.
Wednesday.
And we found him Thursday morning at 2 a.m. Bottom line is, the cause of death is going to be the gunshot wound to the neck.
Yes.
All right.
Problem is that we didn't find...
He didn't have a bullet.
I was actually a little surprised to find out the cause of death was a gunshot wound. We're going to have Wigfall go back over to the apartment. Hopefully we can find the bullet and possibly even the firearm itself.
The first time we were here, we thought the victim had a puncture wound. We later found out that the victim had been shot, so we're here today hoping that we can find the bullet. We want to find a bullet because it'll help determine what type of weapon that was fired from. Looks like we probably have the bullet hole. All right, looks like we probably have the bullet right here. Looks like it's probably gonna be a 9mm. It's good to have the bullet. Finding that is pretty big. So I'm sure Detective Marcel will be happy. So if we can find the firearm, that'll help narrow things down quite a bit. We recovered the bullet. What concerns us is that we still have the firearm out there with the suspect who's still free and at large. He's out there armed and dangerous, then he might hurt somebody else.
I requested video surveillance from the apartment complex located right next to my crime scene. Just got the video, so I'm going to take a look and see what I can find on it. This is actually the victim's apartment. It's right there at the base of the fire escape that's around back.
Right.
Right back here is the same area where the footprint is and the same area where the keys were. Probably just over here on the edge of the camera. So I'm going to pull this thing up to about 12:30 or so. Well, it'd be nice if he walked right here by the camera, turned around with a can of gas and a gun and smiled and waved. I don't think that's going to happen. I have wishful thinking.
Where? Something moving back there?
That's someone walking right there. Oh, no way. No way.
Yeah, that is a way.
That's definitely the fire.
Flames.
I mean, that's a big orange fireball right there in the victim's window.
Which makes me think
12:48 and
some sort of
20
accelerant.
seconds. This camera doesn't get the angle where the keys were. Let me do this. Let me check out a different camera.
What is one of those?
Are you kidding me?
You gotta be. The problem is that with the lighting and how fast he's moving, I don't know if we're gonna be able to ID him.
You know, the bottom line here is we've got our suspect caught on tape committing an arson.
Black male, black clothing.
Black male, black clothing, and looks like tennis shoes. So now we need to go out and find him.
Masello returns to the building where the victim, Michael Brown, lived and worked as a maintenance man to meet with a neighbor and see if he can turn up any leads.
What can you tell me about the gentleman that lived here in this apartment?
Mike, he was kind of like the superintendent. He kind of took care of the grounds and everything.
Have you ever had any problems with him
No,
since he's been living here?
No, not at all. And I'd known him before, so I knew he was an upstanding person.
Has there been any problems lately, like in the past couple days or couple weeks, any incidences involving Michael at all? Or?
Yes, but it wasn't Michael directly. It was his nephew, Ricky.
His nephew, Ricky?
Yes. He asked him to stay here, and then he'd come in and leave every once in a while.
You know how old his nephew is?
Probably about 20, 21 maybe.
What did he say specifically about the problem?
Ricky's argue with him and then get in his face and shove him around.
Did he say he was scared of his nephew?
Yes.
Looks like my victim has been having problems with his nephew, a guy by the name of Ricky Brown. So this could be panning out to be a case of some type of domestic situation where ultimately it led to a murder or homicide.
I just loaded up the 3D images to the arson/homicide case.
Hey, Wick, how you doing?
And we're going to take a look and brainstorm some ideas with Captain Venuti.
And the door is found unlocked.
The door is unlocked. Unfortunately, I think a lot of our evidence might have been damaged with all the smoke and everything, but for the most part, you can still see it. We found this bullet in the living room. We know it was a 9mm because Wigfall found one at the scene. The mop, the dustpan with the blood, and some cleaning supplies are in that living room area. It looks like there was some type of attempt to clean up this place prior to the fire being set. Suspect must have stepped in bleach or something because we found a really nice footprint in the living room area.
If the plan was to clean up the apartment, what was going to happen to the victim?
I think they wrapped him up in that sleeping bag, thinking, hey, I'll just pick him up and carry him out. Maybe they couldn't move him out of the apartment, so they realized, hey, I just need to torch this place.
So how did the keys get outside?
Maybe someone took the keys thinking there's some car keys or something on it, and that when that fire went, maybe they panicked and ran away, and when they jump over that fence, maybe they just drop them. We have that video that was taken that we can actually see the fire going off. We know the fire was set about 12:48 a.m. because we have it on the surveillance video, but we're looking at really any time Wednesday or Wednesday night for the shooting.
And if the suspect's unknown to the victim, then it's either robbery or he interrupts a burglary?
That's correct.
And why do you try and clean up? If I'm over there and I'm coming into your house to take what you have of value and I shoot you, I just leave.
Yeah.
Why would I clean up?
Yeah, as I said, some parts of it sort of add up, some parts of it don't.
And right now, if we think that he knows the suspect, we're looking at
a guy that's known to us, which is his nephew, that I know he's had problems with. And then we got some unknown guy wearing all dark clothing, lurking around the shadows right before the fire set.
Okay, we'll keep working it.
Detective Masello has located Richard, or Ricky Brown, the victim's nephew. He has agreed to come to police headquarters for a voluntary interview.
You said that you were living with your girlfriend right now?
Yes.
Masello will question Ricky about his whereabouts Wednesday through early Thursday morning, the time frame for the murder and arson.
Where are you working at?
Dab zone.
Did you work it all Wednesday?
Yeah.
Do you know what time you got off of work Wednesday?
3:30, 4. My girlfriend has a vehicle. She picked me up.
Did you spend the night Wednesday night with your girlfriend?
Yeah.
How do you end up going to work in the morning?
She gives me transportation to the Dab zone.
Okay. Your cell phone that you have?
Yes, sir.
Are you the only person that uses that phone?
Yes, sir.
Do you currently have a firearm?
No, sir.
You ever fired a gun before?
No, sir.
Never fired one your whole life?
No, sir.
Over the course of the whole interview, the thing that really struck me the most odd was how unemotional he was. His uncle is murdered and the apartment's set on fire. We have to release him for now. We just don't have enough evidence to hold Ricky at this point. He's definitely a person of interest, and he's going to remain that way until I can either prove or disprove his alibi. We just pulled up behind Staff Zone. This is the place that Ricky told me he works for, and that he was working a job site on the day of the homicide. So not working anywhere on the 9th.
Ricky's alibi about working Wednesday doesn't hold up. Masello heads out to check Ricky's alibi for Wednesday night through Thursday morning.
I'm Detective Masello. I work for Richmond Police Department.
What's going on?
I'm just working on a case. How long have you been living out here?
Since January.
Since January? Okay. Do you have a boyfriend?
He just went out the door to his Jay.
His name is what?
Jay.
Jay? Okay. Do you know a guy named Ricky? Okay. Who's Ricky?
I guess you could say he's my boyfriend too.
Okay. He's your boyfriend also? Okay. Does he stay here with you? He doesn't live here? When's the last time you actually spoke or saw Ricky?
He was over here Wednesday.
Do you know what time he got over here Wednesday night?
6. Something like that.
Did he ever leave and go out and then come back?
No. I don't have a car, so where are we going?
You know how he gets down to work and back? You don't. Do you drive at all? Do you have a license? Okay, you just don't have a car.
Basically.
What his girlfriend says and what Ricky says are not quite matching up. Ricky is claiming that his girlfriend took him to work and picked him up and brought him back. You know, I find it a little odd that she did that when she doesn't have a car. Someone's not being truthful with me. Ricky's alibi is that he's in the east end of the county all day long on the day of the murder, and that he goes to his girlfriend's house that afternoon about 4 or 5 o'clock in the evening, and he stays there all night long. He never leaves. So let's take a look at his cell phone records, and let's see if we can figure out exactly where he was. Here is Ricky. Right here are his cell phone calls that he was making in the afternoon, a time when he said he was working in the east end of the county. And looking at the phone records, all of his calls are bouncing up here in the north end of the county where his girlfriend lives. You know, that part of his alibi right now is just not holding up. He doesn't make any phone calls between probably about 1:30 in the afternoon. He doesn't make any more until like 4. All right, we want to look at around the time of that fire.
Right.
There's about 5 calls from Ricky's phone between 12:08 and 12:45. This is during the time that he said he was up at his girlfriend's up in the north side. But all those calls are bouncing right next door to the crime scene. I mean, right next door.
That's not even close to girlfriend's.
Yeah, it's nowhere near. I mean, her house is about 5 or 6 miles away to the north. All those phone calls around that time, right here near the crime scene, and right at the same time of the arson. He's going to have a little bit of explaining to do for that one. Everything after that, he's hitting back up by his girlfriend's.
You want to go back out there maybe with a search warrant and check to see if maybe that gun's out there at her house?
Detective Masello and the forensic team now have probable cause to search Ricky's girlfriend's residence. They hope to find a 9mm gun and any belongings that tie Ricky to the crime scene.
We're gonna execute a search warrant today. Mainly what we need to look for is anything that belongs to, your boyfriend, Ricky. If you want to come back here and then you can show us where all of his clothing and everything else like that is kept.
Does he have anything else here to your knowledge? Black t-shirt.
He has a black t-shirt?
Uh-huh.
Okay, all right, come on, step on out here. I guess mainly any clothing here that look like it could be his. Any men's shoes. I'll take a look out here, see what I can find.
Look at these shoes here. Look like they could be Ricky's.
All right, you can go sit down. Go ahead and go sit down. Are there any firearms in the house? Where's that at?
It's in the closet.
It's in this closet right here?
Yes.
There's a firearm in the closet.
9mm?
I don't know yet. I haven't touched it. You know if the gun's loaded?
Yeah, it is.
It is?
Yes.
Okay. I think it's gonna be a revolver. The good news is that we found a gun. The bad news is that it's not gonna be our murder weapon. We found a .22 caliber revolver, and we're gonna be looking for a 9mm semi-automatic handgun. We did recover some shoes that belonged to Ricky, some clothing, black jeans, black t-shirt. We're gonna take a look at all of that. You never know when you're gonna find that one small piece of the puzzle that's gonna put everything together.
We have the suspect's shoes, so what we're gonna do is take the suspect's shoes and do a comparison with the print. The suspect tried to clean up his mess prior to setting the place on fire. We believe that the suspect stepped in some bleach and then fled from the crime scene. When he fled, he tracked the prints out.
I mean, it smells like they've been in a fire. They smell a little ashy. There's the circle right there. And then there's like 1, 2, 3, 4, at least 5. And then there's some tread on the outside. They look pretty similar to me. No doubt the shoes smelled kind of smoky, like soot. Take that along with the cell phone records that we have, and Ricky's alibi is not looking very good right now. Hey, LT. Wigfall took a look at Ricky's shoes. They appear to match. I think we definitely have enough to put him at the scene at the time of the arson. Hopefully we get him picked up. He's sitting in jail. Maybe we have a little bit of time. I can work on the murder, maybe even find the murder weapon.
Yeah, the bottom line with this guy is the quicker we can get him off the street on that arson charge, the better off we're going to be. Who knows what this guy's capable of doing?
10-4.
A warrant is issued for Ricky's arrest. Cell records show his phone was making calls near the crime scene at the time of the fire. His shoe matches up to the print found at the crime scene. It's enough to bring a charge of arson.
This might not be an easy arrest. He still is a dangerous person. We haven't recovered the weapon, so potentially he could still be armed.
On Richard Lee, has he had prior issues with the police? Okay. Just talked to Masello. I don't know how much you know, but just to advise the three of you, Masello said that there's apparently a 9mm still out and about. It's in the deep corner. Richard, I got a warrant for you, so do me a favor, just put your hands behind your back.
Scratch shotgun. Big Daddy, watch your music.
unit is back from picking up my suspect. They've just brought him in here. I'm going to go in there and conduct an interview. I'm going to lay sort of everything out and see if he won't come off of his alibi and his story that he had nothing to do with this, and see if he won't admit to the murder and to the arson. You're being charged with the arson. You did burn a dwelling house, Michael Brown.
I did not do that.
Tell me this story of who had your phone then at 1:02 in the morning, Thursday morning.
My girlfriend's friend said that she needed to run it, but she needed to use my phone.
When I talked to you before, you said that's your cell phone, that only you use the cell phone, that you never lend that cell phone to anybody. Your cell phone was at your uncle's place at 1:02 in the morning on Thursday.
I have nothing to do with my uncle's death.
Didn't confess to anything, denied all involvement. Really, he just showed no remorse.
Ricky is charged with arson and transported to a lockup facility.
We have a pretty solid case on arson right now. He's got a preliminary hearing set, usually about 3 weeks from now. My goal is to really have him charged with murder, but we just really don't have a strong enough case right now. So it's going to make all that physical evidence that we have that much more important. We locked up Ricky now for the arson. I want to try to figure out what we can do to really kind of work on the murder case.
What actually ties him to that scene?
We have his cell phone records. I've got his alibi on where he tells me he was on the day of the murder. I've proven is not true. The shoe impressions that were inside the house and the shoes that we recovered from him, they're very similar. So those shoes are going to put him at that scene during the time of the fire. We have that video, the surveillance video from the apartment tower next door. It shows a guy wearing all black. The keys, I don't really think they mean much. I mean, he may have just sort of taken the keys with him because he had them, and he brought the keys over there, and he took them with him when he left. He just dropped them when he fled.
What's your feelings on a weapon? Think we're gonna find one?
We've checked that whole area. We checked all the garbage cans and super cans. He had a lot of time to dump that gun anywhere.
So you've got some good stuff tying him to the arson. What else do you need to put the murder together at this point?
Still have that gas can. It's going to be big if we can put that in his hand prior to the fire. The main thing is a witness that can actually place him there, physically there, at the time of either the murder or someone that he has maybe spoken to after the fact that can give me some statements about, you know, what he did.
Obviously, a witness is going to be huge. That firearm is going to be huge.
I'll keep working on it and see what we can get.
All right, Wick, what do you got?
We were able to capture the pictures off the suspect's cell phone, and bam, look at that.
Nice.
Ouch, that hurts.
And it gets even better.
Oh, there's more than one.
Yes. Yes.
Great.
We got a few of them.
Any of those actually show what type of gun that is?
Let me guess, 9mm.
Yes.
He told me he's never even fired a gun, and he's never had one. I mean, here's pictures of him holding a 9mm handgun. The only thing that's missing right now is a confession. I don't know if I'm going to get that from him, but I've got enough lies that I'm going to prove to not be true. So, you know, feeling pretty good.
Ricky's girlfriend shows up for another interview. Marcelo has also received a tip about how Ricky may have obtained the gas can.
I want you to come completely clean tonight, and I want you to tell me everything. Because believe it or not, you ain't going to tell me anything that I don't already know. Because what am I?
Detective.
Detective. And what do I do for a living?
Detect.
I detection.
That's right.
That's new or more than what you told me the other night.
Well, when we got back home, he just told me he was like that. He said his uncle's house on fire. that he was saying that they had gotten in a fight, and he was like, he shot him.
You ever seen Ricky with a gun before? They say what he shot him with.
All I heard was yeah, I shot him, that was it.
What is not in your apartment today that was in there before Ricky went down there?
Did he take something from my apartment that I don't know of?
Let me give you a clue. If you had to set something on fire, what would you use?
Gas.
What's missing from your apartment?
My gas can. The last time I used that gas can, I was on Mechanicsville Turnpike. My car had broke down.
Mechanicsville Turnpike?
Mm-hmm.
Where did you get your gas can?
My brother bought it from 7-Eleven for me.
What color was the one that you had?
Mine was red.
Yours was red.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna go get a picture of this gas can, okay? I want you to take a look at it and tell me if it's your gas can or not. Okay. I appreciate you coming clean. This guy is locked up and he's in jail. And hopefully we're gonna keep him there.
I think it's good.
That's what I think it's real good. I think we can place that gas can from the store to her apartment to Ricky to the arson.
Not only do we have the physical evidence, we actually have a witness to come to court that said that he actually admitted to killing his uncle. That's, I tell you, that's great work.
Yeah, I think it's, for the most part, we're pretty much done, and I think Ricky's done. Right now, I'm going to give this one a solvability of about 90%. One thing by itself, I don't think I would have had quite enough, but because of how everything came together, it's solved. It's a pretty senseless act, someone that, ultimately they lost their life because a family member got upset and he killed them.